What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at Serperior in the Great League, as probably half the other content creators on YouTube already have, but promise you this team is actually cracked. It features the Serperior Lantern Core, which, you know, I hate using Lantern, but sometimes when it just works in the team, it works. And Serperior gotten that Aerial Ace buff actually makes it super consistent and strong in the current Great League meta, because Grass is just really good right now. So, this team is certified cracked, I promise. It came out of my Discord, my Patreon Discord. We've had it for the last rotation, and this one, and my patrons, as well as myself, got a pretty good amount of elo with it. So let's take a look at this team in the Great League and see how Serperior stacks up against this meta. Steelix in the first game here. Not a bad lead. Opponent looks to pivot immediately, and I've got Lantern in the back. I should have maybe just come straight in with Lantern, but what I choose to do here instead is throw the Frenzy Plant. Very likely to get shield advantage here because the Frenzy Plant would do a ton of damage. So I go for this Frenzy Plant, and then I come in with Lantern and farm down. And this is not going to matter that I have this Pelipper in front of me here. I just farm it all the way down. But what really is going to be the nice thing here is that I'm going to come out of this matchup with enough energy to throw into the Steelix. And I can throw 2 Surfs here before they get to a single Breaking Swipe, right? So they have 1, now they need 3 more. So I'm going to be able to fit 4 more Sparks into that 3-turn fast move on the Dragon Tail and get a second Surf off here. The opponent is going to have to throw energy in order to take out my Lantern, and even then, an Earthquake would be what they'd need. A Breaking Swipe won't do it. So, Breaking Swipe, not going to be enough. Going to go for 1 more Spark with good timing to get the Surf. Now, Spark, you could run Water Gun if you want to. Obviously, the Steelix matchup becomes a ton better when you use Spark. But when you run Water Gun, sorry. I have Spark on mine. It's just how I'm running it right now. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt. Opponent opting not to shield, and you're going to take him out, and that's a good game. Yeah, Water Gun is absolutely preference. Oops, forgot to get rid of the Q time here. Oops! Once in a while, I miss them. Sue me, everybody. It's all right. These are good battles, I promise. And I even beat a Registeel with this team, which I know a bunch of people are like, how do you deal with Registeel? Wait and see. Just watch. Just keep watching. We get a really nice lead. We get Lantern. So in this particular case, I know that I have to keep alignment here. But there's also something that's worth noting here is Shadow Gligar. It actually forces a shield if you try to fully farm down. So I'm going to give him the shield because I know that I can land a couple of drill runs into that Lantern and get that shield back potentially. So I'm going to go for the first drill run here. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll go for an Icy Wind after the first one, like I do here, because it's very likely that the opponent shields this. And getting the Icy Wind debuff makes them really want to throw that energy. Now, my opponent doesn't shield here, which makes sense, right? I mean, honestly, they know that they're going to get lined back up against the Serperior anyway, so what was the point? And then my opponent brings in Trevenant, and I'm just like, woohoo, okay, this is hairy right here. So I have to come in with my Serperior, a shield down, go immediately for the Aerial Ace, and I'm going to be completely honest, I have no idea how I'm going to win this. They have shield advantage. They don't shield the Aerial Ace. So because they didn't shield the Aerial Ace, I'm hoping to catch a Shadow Ball and Lantern, but my opponent's showing great patience, has a ton of energy, and throws a Seed Bomb here. Now, this is not so great for me. What I probably should have done was I should have just stayed in with my Serperior and let my Lantern finish the game. And in the moment, I thought that if I could catch that Shadow Ball, I'd be chilling. So right now, what I'm hoping to do is not eat multiple Shadow Balls. That's really all I can do. So my opponent shields up, and I'm like, okay, they're going to get to a charge move here, and I'm going for a full farm down at this point. I think that's my only play. My opponent gets to a charge move, and they full send the Shadow Ball, so I'm like, okay, just farm down, get the Lantern. My opponent gets to a charge move. I'm like, okay, this is definitely just a Seed Bomb, right? Right? No! Shadow Ball! My opponent has so much energy, they completely clap me off the face of the planet. Good game to them. That was very well played. That Trevenant completely destroyed me in the back. Deoxys in the lead. So here I like to stay in a bit. This is a little bit of an awkward matchup. There's definitely things that core break this team. You really hope to see, you know, Serperior just doing what Serperior does. So my opponent goes for the Psycho Boost here, and they immediately pop in with Umbreon. I can throw a Frenzy Plant and get some chip damage, and then honestly, Dugong makes this matchup miserable for an opposing Umbreon. So I'm going to catch the foul play here after getting some more energy, and then going to go for Icy Winds here. And honestly, just throw Icy Winds. I mean, this is going to basically make my opponent Either they're going to go down in this matchup or they're going to swap out. And Dugong has absolute control here because of those icy winds. It really does make those long, gruesome, bulk-weighted matchups very miserable for the opponents. Because those icy winds, I mean, the foul plays barely did anything before, but now they're doing almost nothing. I could honestly look to go for a farm down here if I want to. But what I may do instead here is, I was going to wait. But now my opponent quick swaps into the Deoxys, so I'm going to throw the Icy Wind immediately here and pivot into my Lantern here because their attack has dropped, and the best they can do is throw a debuffed Psycho Boost and or Thunderbolt into me. And because they just swapped, they're going to throw the Thunderbolt and not throw that Psycho Boost. So I should be able to get a bunch of Sparks in here and go for the Surf right before my opponent would get to another charge move. Going to let the Surf rip. Doesn't quite KO, but the opponent throws energy right away. Because they could be throwing a Thunderbolt or a Psycho Boost, I'm going to shield up once here, and then I'm going to shield. Because my Lantern has energy, and I'd like to keep it healthy-ish. Opponent comes straight back in with the Umbreon, and I'm going to let this move go and look to potentially farm all the way down. They just swapped still, so they're not going to be able to switch back out yet, and I'm able to fully farm down this Umbreon. And the opponent has a Azumarill in the back. Now, this is a team that I've been seeing a bit of. So, Deoxys, Umbreon, Azumarill is definitely a team that you want to look out for. And because Lantern's in Serperior here, I mean, there's no way that I lose this game because I still have a shield, and I can just let the opponent empty their energy into my Lantern if they want to. Or I can stay in and go for the Thunderbolt. It really doesn't matter at this point. My Dugong can survive moves. I just pop in, go for the combo play with the Serperior. And that's going to take out the Azumarill. And just because it's a grass-type move, we're going to go for it. Takes out Azumarill, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Serperior into Pelipper. Not a great lead because of the wing attacks, but I'm able to hit back for neutral before they can, so I'm going to go for one wing attack, or one frenzy. Oh, goodness gracious, I can't remember the moves, and they're right in front of me. One Vine Whip to see if my opponent instant switches. And afterwards, I'm going to just swap into Dugong here. We CMP. I'm going to eat the Hurricane because I'd rather no shield that. My opponent not swapping out of Dugong here. And there's the Registeel, folks. So hard countered, right? Flyer in the lead, Registeel in the back. Watch this. Just watch the magic at work. Dugong goes for a drill run. Opponent does not shield. And it's CMP. So I'm going to shield up knowing that I can get to another charge move before my opponent does because I'm going to be on my 4 cycle here. So we're going to go for 4 moves. I'm going to go immediately for the drill run on what would be the CMP because my opponent has to basically go for 15 lock-ons, which is the equivalent of 5 of these ice shards. And my opponent goes for 1 pass, so they go for an overfarm, and at that point, I'm going to let it go. My opponent not shielding that is huge. I'm now going to come in with Serperior and farm all the way down. Even though they're resisted, I'm counting, making sure that I can get to this farm down, and I do. And this much energy on Serperior is going to be disgusting. And the opponent comes in with another steel type, Shadow Lull and Sand Slash. You guys probably know from watching Home Slice Henry's video, because I'm pretty sure you do. I mean, we all kind of watch each other's stuff around here. That the Frenzy Plants chunk this thing even though it's resisted. So an Ice Punch is going to come through. Serperior is tanky, and I'm going to be able to handle that. My opponent has Pelipper in the back. I'm just hiding my Lantern at this point. And at this point, they have to stay in. They cannot swap out because of the Lantern. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look to shield up this potential drill run and then try to farm down. And, I mean, at this point, what else is there? They got to go for a charge move. This is probably the drill run, but my opponent emptied all of their energy from that Pelipper before swapping out. So they have nothing. They're going to need another 4 wing attacks to get to the Weather Ball. I'm going to go for the Surf right away. I imagine that my opponent probably has to shield something here, and they shield up that, and I'm 1 away from the Thunderbolt, and I'm going to be able to take out this Pelipper and the game. Another good game well played to my opponent. And that would have KO'd at least 15 Pelippers and their children, so they get the Kaboom Butt. Anyway, we got Serperior into Amandabuzz. Hard lead loss here, so I need to try and flip switch here if I can, because my better things are going to be in the back. Opponent comes in with a Grand Bull, and because they gave me a couple Ice Shards advantage, I think this is winnable with shields up. So I'm going to go for the Icy Wind. My opponent doesn't shield this. Usually when you're going to counter swap the Grand Bull like that, you want to go for the alignment. So because of the fact that my opponent didn't shield, I'm able to flip switch, and that's pretty much going to seal the alignment issue that I have, especially now that I can put my Serperior on this Quagsire and the Lantern on the Amandabuzz. And honestly, that by itself just wins me the game right there. Now, if that matchup had drawn out, I think that Grand Bull loses it, but I'd have to check. I have not played, honestly, the Shadow Grand Bull Dugong matchup that much. because it's not something I see very often. But my opponent's trying to save 2 shields for their Mandibuzz, hoping that they can use it to sweep me. But they're going to be very sad to find out that I have a Lantern in the back with Spark. So this is a good game here. There's not really much my opponent can do. My Serperior is still fully healthy. My Lantern is still fully healthy, minus a foul play. And I'm just going to go for Surf here. I mean, I don't even need to go for the Thunderbolt because the Sparks are doing so much extra damage now, thanks to the Spark buff. Don't tell me it wasn't buffed, y'all. It just made Lantern a little slower, but this thing still hits really hard. Imagine, dude, imagine when Shadow Lantern gets released. Oh my goodness. No, I have to quit Pogo at that point. This thing will be a menace if it's a Shadow. Goodness gracious. Good fast move damage and a reasonably decent charge move set? No thanks, dude. This thing's going to destroy everybody's faces in the Great League. I ain't going to do it. Going to shield this up here. Opponent tries to come in with the Quagsire. I shield that as well. At this point, I can just... Maybe they go with the Stone Edge. Maybe they're not running Mud Bomb. I don't know. Maybe they misclicked. I certainly misclicked, forgetting which side my charge moves are on. And I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here, and it's pretty much going to seal the deal here for this matchup. Opponent has to go for like 5 Aerial Aces to take out my Serperior, and that's going to be a good game. Very well played. Thank you. And bye, Mandy. I'm just going to go for the Aerial Ace here just to seal this. Oh, sorry. Wife messaged me right in the middle of that, and I want to make sure I message her back. Don't want to leave. All right, we get a really bad lead. We got a Frostlass. My opponent comes in with a Palmot. This is some spice, dude. We're going to go for the Icy Wind here, hoping to try and get some damage off this thing, maybe a shield. And, I mean, they shielded it, so that's a good thing. I'm going to go for the next Icy Wind here, and I'm like, okay, I know this thing just has nukes, but, like, okay. So we're going to shield it, right? I want to get switch advantage, right? That'd be preferable because Serperior and Frostlass with Powder Snow, Avalanche, etc. Not good. So we're going to be able to get Switch here, which is nice. Honestly, having Lantern against the Frost is a good thing for me. And then my opponent comes in with the Electivire, and I'm like, all right, absolute kudos to somebody running this Spice. I let it go because there's no reason for me to shield. They go for the full Send the Wild Charge, and I'm going to come in with my Serperior here. Or I come in with the Lantern. I should have come in with Serperior, but I was afraid of the Ice Punches. This is probably where I lose the game. I definitely should have just come in with Serperior, eat the energy, and try to finish the game with Lantern. Because I'm down to shield, now I have to worry about trying to catch a Shadow Ball or something silly like that. So, going to go for Surfs here, trying to get the shield off this Frostlass. Opponent does shield it up. And going to go for the catch on the Frostlass. My opponent throwing a charge move has to be a Shadow Ball because they wouldn't throw Avalanche into a Lantern with shields up. So, now I'm going to try to reach for a move here. I need to go for the Aerial Ace because I feel like I was going to get CMP'd on the Frenzy Plant. So going for the Aerial Ace, hoping it's going to be enough damage, but now my opponent can just farm me down. I'm not going to be able to get to another Aerial Ace, unfortunately, because I don't have enough HP, and then the opponent gets to throw a Shadow Ball here, and all I need to do is throw a Surf into the Electivire and be able to get rid of this Frostlass. And my opponent swaps immediately. I was not expecting them to swap immediately. I didn't think that their timer was up. So I just do a nice charge here. It was, it's over, man. My opponent going to be able to get to a move right before I'm able to finish farming down. And that is a Shadow Ball. And that is a good game. My opponent played that so well. Like, very well done to them. Getting into the next game here, we've got Serperior on another Mandibuzz. So same deal as before. Hard lead loss. When you hit a flying lead like this, you got to immediately try and swap into Dugong to get Switch. And my opponent comes in with the G-Fisk and immediately goes for the Rock Slide. So I shield up, making them think that maybe I'm going to go for an Icy Wind, and I go straight for the Drill Run. If this Drill Run lands, I can start going straight Icy Wind, and I have a chance to flip swap here. So hitting that Drill Run does a good chunk of super effective damage, and then my opponent goes with not so great timing here, goes straight for another Rock Slide, and I know that now that they're this low, I could definitely look into flipping Switch. So I'm going to go for the Icy Wind right before they get to the next Rock Slide, and I think I should be able to live this next Rock Slide if they throw up. My opponent living with just a few HP. But one Ice Shard will take them out. Now that I know that I got that Ice Shard through, I can no shield. I win Switch, and that's all I needed. They come back in with the Mandibuzz, so whatever they have in the back must not be a good answer to Dugong. Trainers, if you're going to lead a flyer in the back, you've got to be packing an answer to Dugong or A-Slash. That stuff's got to be in your mind when you build a team with Mandibuzz. I kid you not. And also a Zoomerl, right? If you're going to put Mandibuzz in the lead, you got to have a Zoomerl. Like, this person is triple weak to a Zoomerl, Tapu Fini. I saw another team today while I was playing sets, and it was Mandibuzz, Charizard, and... oh, my goodness. Whoa. I can't remember the third. But I just remember that they were triple weak to Azumarill. I think it was Gligar. It could have been something like that. It was just they were triple weak to Azumarill. You know, you can't do that, especially not in this meta. So Serperior is going to get this farm down. It's just chip damage at this point. I have the Lantern. I have the game. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm playing an ace rank elo right now. Like, this is upper, 2300s, low 2400s. So, like, the people I'm playing here aren't stupid by any means. Like, these are competent battlers at this point in the season. But I think that maybe they were just trying to make a meta read on the team, and it didn't quite go the way they hoped. So, getting a bad lead here. Serperior into the Alolan Sandslash. What I'm looking to do here is potentially catch the Ice Punch. Opponent doesn't fall for it, and I have so much energy, and I have to just eat a Drill Run now, and it feels so bad. So Drill Run's going to go through. That's going to do quite a bit of damage. Opponent comes in with a Medicham, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm screwed. But the nice thing here is that with the Icy Wind debuffs, my Serperior might have a chance of getting a decent farm down. So I'm going to go for as many as I can before they take me out here. I'm kind of hoping that they just try to go for a farm down. I'm going to go for this Drill Run right away. They were about to get to a charge move. I didn't want to risk having to take that damage. So getting the opponent's Medicham into the red despite having a severe health disadvantage. And I'm going to eat this Ice Punch. I'm just going to eat it. I'm numb. I'm going to eat it. Doesn't do that much damage with the debuff, thankfully. So Serperior here, going to get a full farm down. I'm not going to put a shield into it, because I've already lost lead. I'd rather see if I can save 2 shields for my Lantern and try to win that way. So I'm going to go for a Frenzy Plant as soon as the Sandslash comes back in. And then I'm going to go for another Frenzy Plant right afterwards, because this is going to force shields off of the opponent, and then I can pivot out immediately with a shield advantage and Lantern, and I'm going to hope that maybe they have a water in the back like a Azumarill or something like that, which is a very common pairing with Sandslash. You see a water and an anti-fighter, so like Water Fairy, Pelipper, Jellicent, stuff that beats the fighting types. My opponent looks to stop tapping there. I don't know if that was lag or what, but because I got that spark through, I can shield this safely, and there's an Azumarill in the back, and the opponent concedes. Well played. But yeah, Lantern just coming in super handy here. We got Medicham on lead the next game. This is a kind of a more neutral lead, but I can't swap out of it because of the fact that I have the Dugong in back. But we have Aerial Ace to put some pressure on this Medicham, thankfully. I actually don't know what does more damage. I think a Frenzy Plant probably does more damage, to be honest. So, but I know that I can eat an Ice Punch here. It doesn't do that much damage, and I'm looking to hope that maybe what they've got is, some sort of, anti-flyer in the back. So perhaps, we'll just find out. But I'm pretty sure from this range, I can farm down with the Lantern or the Serperior. But because they're at the Ice Punch, I swap to catch it because they have to throw something before going down. The opponent has a Lickitung in the back, so there's still... Whatever they have in the back may be weak to Serperior. Could be their own Lantern, perhaps. My Serperior still got some health to it, has a little bit of energy, so I'm hoping that whatever goes on here, I can try and make something happen. And I'm going to go for as many charge moves as I can against the Lickitung. I'm not looking to really invest any shields in this matchup because I know I don't win it because of the fact of those Power Whips, and I'd rather not play the bait and Body Slam versus Power Whip game. Opponent just going to go straight for it, and here I can actually probably farm down with the Spark nerf before they can, so they're going to go for the Body Slam, and that is actually going to allow me to come in with my Dugong and farm all the way down. Now, I do have to eat a Body Slam here. I know that they're not at enough energy for a Power Whip, but that energy is going to be really nice because their best response at this point is a Gligar. So opponent makes a really nice catch, though, on their Medicham. So I know that I see the text on the screen. I know shield, but for some reason my opponent shields the Medicham, and I don't really know why. It doesn't matter where they put that shield because I could simply shield and farm down at this point anyway because I have 2 shields on my Dugong. So like it really doesn't matter where my shields go. I think maybe my opponent realized this too, but... yeah, so this is game over for the opponent, unfortunately. What I do is I come in with the Serperior trying to catch a move. I got way too fancy, did not need to do that. Could have thrown the game doing that too, so good game to the opponent, though. That was way too risky. Don't ever do that. Obstagoon in the next game. This is another not so great lead. So I stay in here because, again, we got Dugong in the back, and I can't really risk coming in here, so I'm going to have to stay in with my Serperior, look to go for Frenzy Plants, and see if there's any way that I can just beat this Obstagoon and get it out of the way. Now, opponent makes a really nice swap on the Gligar here, And at this point, I can come straight in with my Dugong if I want to. But because they no-shielded that, I get a lot less farm than I would have otherwise. So they go straight for an Aerial Ace here. I know I can no-shield this. But the Obstagoon's going to get a big farm down off of me here. Now, that's assuming they come back in with the Obstagoon, which I imagine they would. They baited out my Ice type, so they're going to... Nope, they're going to come in with a Cresselia, which now is where things get kind of risky. My Lantern does not want to see this crest, so I'm kind of glad that they brought it out here. However, depending on what my opponent decides to do here, it could be very risky for Serperior Lantern. This is a very neutral game script here at this point, because the one thing that really doesn't want to see the Obstagoon is here on the field and not seeing the Obstagoon. So that's not a bad thing. So Dugong is going to continue to go for Icy Winds. I'm, for some reason, just giving the Obstagoon a ton of farm. Probably didn't need to do that, but I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here, hoping that they think this is a Frenzy Plant and they shield it anyway. And the opponent has enough energy for Night Slashes, so I look to catch the Night Slash on my Lantern, because I would much rather have Serperior against the Cresselia endgame. So I'm going to go for Surf here, looking to try and get rid of this Goon. Still saving my shields, because I know the Cresselia doesn't really have any fast move pressure. And of course, the Goon gets the boost. So now I start shielding because I have to. I hate it, man. I hate Night Slash sometimes. So I'm going to try to get up to a couple of these Surfs, but the problem with that is the opponent, because of the Spark nerf, I'm going to have to CMP them or not get there before they do. So I shield this up as well, which means now my Serperior is going to be shieldless, and I'm going to have to try to go for the Surf before the opponent can get to another move here. So we're just going to have to see if this guy can hang on. I'm going to go for as much damage as I can against the Crest, then tried to catch the Grass Knot, but my opponent didn't. They were very patient, held on to their energy, and the Moonblast is going to clap my Serperior, but they get just enough farm, dude. Can I get to the Thunderbolt? No. They had a lot of energy from that farm they did earlier, so good game. And also, they're apparently missing a Torso. Just realized that. Good game to that trainer. Very interesting team. Very well played to them. I know that the final set was only a 3-2, but there was a lot of 4-1s in this team before I got to this set. This just happens to be the ones that I recorded on stream, and if you don't hang out with me on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, and check out the streams, you're missing out. The Mauled Zone is where it's at. Anyway, thank you all so much for catching this video. Well, I guess watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. And make sure you check out the Patreon server in the description, pinned comment. Awesome Discord community. I know there's a paywall, but it's worth it, I promise. And y'all have a good one. Thank you, and catch you in the next one. Bye.